Hello. Welcome back to school.
Um, it's been a long time since we've been in the schoolroom. I want to go through, as we are about halfway through um, the alphabet in reading. We're on the letter M right now. I want to go through and talk about the Braille alphabet, how that all works out. And I'm going to touch also on the numbers because we did touch on the numbers earlier this month. So, this is going to be another lesson where I'm going to teach you guys something. Um, so, um, first, I'm trying to think. I think I uploaded a history, like in a really brief overview. So I'm not going to reiterate that history stuff. I'll put a link to that video in the description. But just by way of just going through the alphabet, in Braille, obviously we don't have physical letters like A, B, C. We don't have any of these. All of our letters are with dots that can actually be felt. Technically, there'd be a dot between these to indicate a capital letter, but we'll go into that later. So, this Braille can be read with the eyes. You just have to learn to differentiate between the cells and the lines. But yeah, I mean, anyone can read like signs or elevator numbers. Basic stuff can really help them. Okay, so by way of review from the very first video, Braille is comprised of 6 vertical dots in 2 columns. Well, vertical is, yeah. So each dot, for simplicity's sake, has a number, is given a number. We have 1, 2, and 3 on the left side, and 4, 5, and 6 on the right side. I have also heard them say left top, left middle, left bottom, right top, right middle, right bottom, but that's just is really too wordy. Having the numbering system is probably the one of the good things there is about Braille. So this is what is called a cell. And Louis Braille, when he came up with this system based off of Charles Babbge's night writing, he saw this as like a nun's cell or a monk's cell that they had back in the day. I mean, I think there are still convents and monasteries around. So it's basically just a room with a bed and a table. Maybe, I don't know, a lamp, I don't know. But it's just a small room. And so this is what it reminded him of, a cell, of a nun's or a monk's cell. So that's where he got this, that's what he called it. He called it a cell. Okay, and the cell, these different combinations of dots is going to, it's going to contain everything from literature, to music, to mathematics, and beyond. But for now, we're just going to deal with the literature aspect of it. So, there is a system to this Braille cell system here. And I'm going to first write out the first 10 letters. So the real important thing with Braille is I kind of knew it, but I didn't really fully know it. When you see Braille, the Braille is to represent what the English printed letters say. So if you have, we'll say, the letter A, just a lowercase letter A, that should be represented by the Braille dot that represents that letter. If you have a capital letter, let's say we have a capital letter A. That's a really bad A. I was going to write B. But if you have a capital letter A, it does not equal this. This is a lowercase letter a. This is a capital A. The two are not equal. To make them equal, you have to incorporate what is called a capital sign. And we'll get into that later. Okay, so we're going to write out the letters A through J. I'm going to write the English above, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We're going to run out of space. We'll make this work. H, I, and J. So these are the first 10 letters. I may have to write these a little small because I'm gonna need the rest of the board to show the rest of these. So I'm gonna have to write these small. I like writing big because at least I know you guys can see it. But I need to be able to fit 10 letters across here. Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna start way over here on the left side. So we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J. So here we have the first 10 letters A through J. Now, going back to our little cell, I'm going to put one over here for reference. And I'll put the dot numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so again we have the cell. Alright, now this is just for reference. As I'm writing these out, I'm just going to be representing the dot that represents that letter. I will not be indicating any of the other dots because it's just going to get really busy. Okay, so the letter A, for starters, is dot number 1. And you just put a dot number 1 to the best of your ability. Letter B is dot number 1 and 2. Okay? Letter C. If you said 1, 2, 3, you're wrong. Letter C is dots 1 and 4. If you said 1 and 4, you're correct. Letter D is going to be dots 1, 4, and 5. And letter E is going to be 1 and 5. And it's really important to like make sure that your dots are, for the most part, lined up. Like this letter A should probably line up there, so that all of your top rows of the dots are together, your middle rows are together, and your bottom rows are together. This is really, really important, especially when you're passing secret messages to your special someone. Okay, so letter F is going to be dots 1, 2, and 4. That's the letter F. And then letter G, I'm going to fix this because I'm going to need part of this letters. This is going to have to be raised because it's kind of in my way right now. So we got letter G. We got 1, 2. Try to make that darker so you can see it. 1, 2, 4, and 5 is the letter G. The letter H is 1, 2, 5, and the letter I is 2, 4, and the letter J is 2, 4, 5. And indicating the dots like in numerical order is usually how most blind Braille students begin. So here, letter J, 1 or 2, 4, 5. Some people might say 4, 5, 2. Yeah. So this is the first 10 letters, A through J. Now, the next 10 letters, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, and T are the next 10 letters. So, Louis has 10 letters that he's already used up. And if you notice, there is only one part of the cell is being used. I guess you can mark in the comments what that part is. Is it the upper part or the lower part? So continuing, to make the letter K, all he did was he took the letter A. He has 2 more dots available that he could be using. Just dots 3 and 6. So he takes the letter A, he brings it down, and he adds dot 3. Then he says, okay, that's the letter K. And the letter L, he brings down the letter B, and he adds dot 3. And the letter M, he writes the letter C, and he adds dot 3. Does anybody see a connection here? I sure hope so, because this is going to be on the final exam. Letter M, he writes out the letter D, and he adds dot 3. It's a little off. And he continues likewise with O. He writes out the letter E, and he adds dot 3. My chalk is getting really small right now. The letter P, he brings down the letter F. 1, 2, 4, and he adds dot 3. Letter Q, he brings down the letter G. 1, 2, 4, 5, and he adds dot 3. Letter R brings down the letter H. 1, 2, 5, and he adds dot 3. S brings down the letter S, or the letter I, and he adds dot 3. And then the last letter for T brings down letter J, and he adds dot 3. So that is short system of how he began to write out his alphabet. Just brought down the previous 10 letters and he added 1 dot. That's all he did. Now for the next 10, S-T, now we have U, V, X, Y, and Z, or Z for my people across the pond. He then brings down all these letters, brings down the letter K. Now he only has 1 more dot he can play with. If anyone knows what dot that is, put it out in the description. While you're at it, you can like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments. That would greatly help. So this is the letter U. Brings down the letter K and he adds dot 6. Letter V, he brings down the letter L and he adds dot 6. This is why you have to kind of know the Braille style, because it starts to get really messy when you're writing out Braille by hand. Especially freehand. Letter X, he brings down the letter M and then he adds dot 6. And the letter Y brings down the letter N and he just adds dot 6. Very simple. On the letter Z, for some unknown reason I can never get this one down, writes out the letter O and he adds, again, he adds dot 6. Alright, that's all the letters of the alphabet, right? A to Z, that's all the letters. I hear some keyboards running saying, hey, wait a minute, you're missing W. And you'd be absolutely correct. But when Louis Braille invented this, the French did not have the letter W in their alphabet. That came about from what I've been told from the Germans. Well, after Louis Braille died, this alphabet began to spread across different countries. And when the Germans got a hold of it, they says, wait a minute, we can't write out the letter W. Obviously, they're speaking in German. Ein Moment.
wir können, wir können die Buchstabe W, I think, schreiben. Wir haben kein Buchstabe for this letter. We don't have a letter for this letter. So there are more combinations that have not yet been used. So what they did was they took one of these other combinations that could be used that was not already taken up by the alphabet, and they used that instead. So when I'm introducing this to other people, people who can read print, I usually leave out the W. When I ask them if, that's the alphabet. And they'll look at it and they'll, sometimes they'll notice W's missing, sometimes they'll notice it's not. But when I do introduce W, I tell them that after the Germans got a hold of it, the alphabet, they took one of these extra symbols that was not already used, and they called that W, so that they could write out the word wunderbar. Which means wonderful. This is the letter W. This is the only letter that does not follow this code. That's another reason that I teach it at the end. I teach it as a special letter. But obviously once whoever is learning Braille, they can kind of get oh yeah, this is W. It's just one of those things that you just learn. So this is the alphabet in short. Now, if you notice, all of these are lowercase letters. So we need to have a symbol to indicate, well, how do we make all these capital? If you want to write somebody's name or a place, there's lots of instances where we would use a capital letter. Because as I said before, the Braille is to represent the English. So all of these letters that I have written out here, these are all lowercase letters. There are special signs and indicators that we need to use for indicating when a letter is changed from its original lowercase state. And for that, we just simply write down .6. And we call this the capital. If I spelled that right, I don't know if that's spelled right, but either way. So .6 is how we capitalize a letter. So, for fun and giggles, if you have all written this down, I will step back so you can do a screenshot or write it down, however. You could all write this down. I'm going to throw up some letters and some possible words, and just want to see how much you can grasp reading Braille. So, and I will be using the capital sign too, when needed. So, we're going to erase all of this. Now, normally, if I were like teaching this in like a multi-course thing, I would take the first 10 letters or maybe even less and kind of go about it that way. But as I don't want to drag this out forever, this is just going to be a quick This is meant to be a quick, fun overview. I'm going to use this purple piece of chalk because it's bigger than my white one. Okay, so here's the first word. I don't know if that can be seen. I hope it can be seen. So this is the first, that's the first word. Let's see, the second word is going to be oh, I biffed it on that one. Erase that properly. I can't spell. That one. Let me get rid of that. That goes there. That one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So that's our second word. Third word is going to be the name of a place. So we got this sign, which is very important. Next letter, and then the next letter, and if you want, you can write these answers in the description or whatever that thing is where you guys can post comments. Okay, so this is the third word, and this here, that's your capital sign. So that covers the basic alphabet and the capital sign. So now when you go out, you should be able to order anything you want off a Braille menu. Well, I don't know how it is in the UK or other countries, but in America, they have all of their Braille for public use in what's called grade 2. And if a student does not know grade 2 Braille, essentially they cannot read anything until they learn grade 2 Braille. Okay, that is not coming off, which is not good. So, I need to find another piece of, well, let me use this cloth here. That works out better. It could be that my eraser's chock full of chalk dust. Okay, so next we're going to move on to numbers. And I'm going to find another piece of chalk so I don't have to deal with that mess that I had. Let's see, what do we have here? Is there a white one? Okay. Alright, so here's a nice big piece of chalk. Okay. Numbers. I'm going to write out the numbers from 1 to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and no. These are all the numbers we have in common use. And with these, we can make larger numbers, obviously, like 10. Okay, so for numbers, because Braille only has a total combination of 64 dots, different combinations of dots, obviously some of them are going to have to be essentially recycled and used, serving double meaning. This happens a lot in Braille, both in literature, like written Braille, and music Braille. I don't know about computer Braille or, other codes because I'm not up to speed on all that stuff. But from what I understand, numbers and letters, those dot combinations, they share double duty. So the number 1 is essentially going to be the letter A. But as I said earlier, the Braille is to represent the print, or the print is to be represented in the Braille. So technically, if you left this alone and said, yeah, that's number 1, this would be wrong, because this is the letter A, as we learned. So in order to tell the reader that this is a number, you have to put what is called a number sign, which is simply a symbol, dots 3, 4, 5, 6. If you think about this, I often think of it as literally the number sign, or what is now the hashtag, or a sharp musicals, whatever. But yeah, I think of this literally as the number sign. I see this, I think that. So this symbol before these numbers will represent the various numbers. Now, if you see, there's a space between all of these numbers. To the best of my ability, I'm going to turn on this light. So a space, this is kind of like one of those rules. Braille has lots of rules, and oh my gosh, most of the rules don't make sense. But this one actually kind of makes sense. So the rule is, if you have a number followed by a space and you need to write another number, you need to put in that number sign again, because the space will cancel the number that you're writing. So yeah. So if I wanted to write out the number 2 again, I need to put in our number sign, and then what letter would represent the number 2? If you said B, you would be correct. And the same thing if we did number 3 again. Write out our fancy number sign, and then we write out the 3rd letter of the alphabet, which is the letter C. A little off there, but oh well. Actually, that is gonna bother me. That's gonna bother me, so I have to fix it. There. It's better. All right, then we have moved to the number 4. Again, we make our number sign. 3, 4, 5, 6, and I got this weird thing about writing things in Braille backwards. Weird. Number sign D is the number 4, because D is the 4th number in the alphabet, or the 4th letter, I should say. The number 5, again, we write out our number sign. This is going to be a little bit off here. And we write out the fifth letter, which is the letter E. So that's the letter E. Number sign E is the number 5. Number 6, again, we write out our number sign. And the 6th letter is F. You said F, you are correct. Then we have the number 7. Oops, I just drew in a dot 1. I need to draw a dot 4, 5, 6, 3. And then we have the letter G. It's the 7th letter. And then we have letter 8, or number 8. Again, we have our Braille cell for the number sign. And we have 8, which is the letter H. And then we have the number 9, which again, put in the Braille cell, and this is just getting it to be a big mess here. Number sign, the letter I is the 9th letter. And then we have nil, not, zilch, cipher, however you want to call it. Number sign. And the 10th letter of the alphabet is going to be the letter J. And that is how we're, this letter, this symbol does not represent 10. It represents nil, not. So, that is the basics of numbers. So again, if I were to step aside, you can write that down, or if you're writing it out as I was writing it, awesome. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to do a little, essentially a review. And we can see how well your numbers are after a lesson. Now, you guys are all reading this with your eyes on a computer screen. If you're reading this in physical Braille, it would take a little bit more time. You gotta learn to decipher the dots and the rows and all that other stuff. Okay, so, but reading with your eyes, you know, you can have fun with your sighted friends. Walk up to a door that has a Braille sign. Let's say it says A10. Okay? This is your Braille sign, or this is a sign in print. And in Braille, your capital sign, your A, and your number sign, and the number 10. That's like your sign. You walk up to your friends or whoever, say, hey, check this out, I can read Braille. And literally what some people do, they'll just run their hands across the Braille reading the English without even knowing what the Braille dots say. But since you guys are watching this video, you will have a better understanding of what the Braille dots say, not just, you know, having fun looking at the English. Okay, that one does not count. Okay, so let's do a fun one. If I write out number sign, and let's do this number here. What number is that? If I wrote out the number sign again, we'll do these in columns again. I just realized I didn't give you the answers for the other one. Therefore, I'm not going to give you the answers for this either. Again, just write your comments in the description. And I'll let you know if you're right. Here's another one. What is this number here? Okay. And here's a third one. Oops. My chalk is still getting broken in here. Let's do this one here. Okay. What number is this? Again, you could write all your answers in the descriptions for these. Okay, so now we're going to move on to double digits. So it's going to be interesting. So we're going to do a number sign. And I'll just set this up right away. I'll just do a couple of these. We'll do 3 of them. Make it nice and even. Okay, so there's our 3 number signs. And let's do this one. Okay, can you tell me right in the description what that number is? Here's another one. There's another one, and then your third one. Let's see, what's a number we haven't used yet? Okay, and that's your third one. Now, on the bottom, we're going to write a 4-digit number. Actually, yeah, I'll write it on the bottom, that way I have room. So on the bottom, we're going to write a 4-digit number. And that number is going to be let me see here. All right. That's your 4-digit number. There's no special signs. It's just the number sign with the number. So, if I took grab onto the lamp. I know. Grab down at the bookshelf or grab down to the lamp. Yeah, not good. Put your answers in the description or the when I say description, put your answers in the comments. I will reply. I'll let you know if you're right or wrong. And so yeah, so this basically covers the numbers and the alphabet. There are more symbols like punctuations, but I'm going to hold off on talking about punctuations until we actually get that far in the reading book. But for now, this is just something fun to do and to kind of broaden your horizons with understanding how other people read and write, and to give you a little bit of an appreciation of how things are done with others. So again, let me erase this. Okay. So that concludes today's Braille lesson. If you want my chair, my knee is caught up on my chair. If you want to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the notification bell for all notifications, and
check out the community tab. I am starting to post on there. So, yeah.